by the Minara Chamber of Commerce. Today we have two wonderful speakers, Mr. Samir Mohammed and Mr. Sirhan Aysavir. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Perfect.
Welcome. Thank you guys for taking the time out to join us here today. Let me just tell you a little bit about these gentlemen. Samir is a qualified chartered accountant and a London-based entrepreneur with investment background. He commenced his career at Deloitte, where he worked in the Johannesburg and Los Angeles and London offices. After 9 years, he joined Hamilton Bradshaw and worked as a close and trusted advisor to ex-Dragon's Den panelist James Caan. He focused on the private equity and venture capital for James. Since leaving, he has started a number of businesses and advises HNI and UHNI on investment opportunities in the UK and Europe. Samir is responsible for the establishment of the Beyond South Africa office. In addition, he will be setting up Beyond South Africa's investment offering, international real estate and other investment opportunities to South African clients. He will be leading Beyond South Africa's services to local clients, developing strategic relationships on the ground and ensuring South Africans have access to world-leading residency and citizenship by investment opportunities. Welcome, Samir.
Jazakallah. Thank you so much, Zain, for the introduction.
I hope I didn't miss out anything there. Eh?
Well,
quite an extensive you got there.
Thank you so much for having myself and my dear colleague and brother Sirhan Aysavir. I've got a presentation to share, so I'm going to put that up on screen. You may have done a bit of the hard work for me already by doing my bio, but that's fine. I'll just go over some key highlights, I guess, and then I'll leave Brother Sirhan to kind of explain his background as well, and then we'll dive straight into introducing ourselves as a business, as a company, and as well talking about some of the potential global investment opportunities that are available to South Africans. So let me just get my... Okay, so can everyone, I assume you can see that, Zain?
Yes, perfectly clear.
All right. So let's get the show started. So Jazakallah and welcome, I guess, to all our dear brothers and sisters and Minara members. Thank you so much for having ourselves on tonight and for giving up some of your precious time tonight to enable and host us, to share our experience and ideas for some global and investment opportunities for residency and citizenship. So Zain's done a very good job of my bio, but just to I guess go over a bit of the highlights. So I'm, as he said, a qualified chartered accountant. I'm made in Durban. I'm proudly South African. I love my country. I love Durban. I spend a lot of time in Durban, even though right now I'm actually speaking to you from London, which is where I live some of the time. So I'm a dual South African and British citizen with a background in private equity, focused in real estate and business investments. As Zain kindly mentioned, one of my claims to fame is I worked for James Caan, who was a panelist on Minara a few months back. I recall seeing his very engaging and dynamic talk on the Minara platform. So yeah, I worked for James for a period of 4 years, and that was quite an interesting experience in my life, and learned quite a lot of valuable, interesting things. Since working for James, which was my last employment position, I've been an entrepreneur, working and assisting all kinds of entrepreneurs, businessmen, high net worth, ultra high net worth investors looking for real estate and other business opportunities in the UK and in Europe, particularly working with South African investors as well. And so being a South African and British citizen, I often got asked about the possibility of moving to the UK and other kinds of immigration related questions. And I used to do it on a sort of ad hoc basis. It was a few years back when I was approached by Serhan and his Beyond team, recognizing my background and my sort of investment my investment expertise, and suggested that we look into the South African market for setting up Beyond. And it was a no-brainer because, as I said, I'm quite connected to South Africa and proudly South African. So it was a pleasure to join the Beyond team as a founding partner in South Africa, offering our services to the South African market. I think that kind of covers for now my background, and I'll let Serhan dive in and give you guys a bit of his own background.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here and a privilege to have this chance to speak to such distinguished guests. Thank you very much, Samir, and also Brother Zain. Thank you. As Samir mentioned, my also background is I'm originally from Turkey, moved to the UK 15 years ago. And I did my studies, master's here, and started my career in international education. And then I started to help ultra high net worth clients. Their obviously residency and citizenship planning, immigration for them, for their next generations, and asset diversification, as well as their own residence and citizenship planning. So today, exactly as Samir said, our was crossed a couple of years ago, and then we decided to have together, basically having this presence in South Africa. As Samir mentioned, he's a very proud South African and had this experience to setting up businesses abroad, and especially in the UK. Same here. I'm very proud Turkish, but being in the UK and holding a British passport as well, and helping important people from Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Turkey. My title is Director of Europe, Middle East, and Africa at Beyond. And I'm talking to you today from Beyond's London flagship office. Thank you very much.
So, without further ado, I'd like to jump into a bit of a background as to Beyond and an understanding as to why it is that we came into the South African market. I think I should start by saying that Beyond has over 20 years of industry experience, has been quite instrumental in advising governments in setting up their residency and citizenship by investment programs. Our founder, Hakan, who's also Turkish, has been a leader in this industry. And so it was a no-brainer to join a company and set them up in South Africa as a partner to offer those services in South Africa. So what is it that we do? We advise South African clients on the options for residency and citizenship by investment. And Serhan will cover that a bit later down in our presentation. As I said earlier in my opening, I am very proudly South African. I love South Africa. I love Durban. I'm proudly a proud Durbanite. And one of the core messages and the core objectives of Beyond is not to encourage people to pack their bags or to decide to leave South Africa permanently, but instead to encourage people to proactively strategize and plan their global positioning. And that's our core message. We simply want people to consider their options, to think about the potential for what's available to them, and then make very planned out and pragmatic decisions. So another thing I wanted to say is that given my background, I have a deep empathy for the South African, and I have a core understanding of the South African context. And so, in dealing with us at Beyond South Africa, you're dealing with a team, a company that understands the South African needs, the South African culture, and we're committed to providing bespoke solutions to you as a potential client. We offer end-to-end hand-holding service. So what does that mean? We do everything from providing you with the information and the advice. It's all bespoke. We understand your background, your specific limitations, your challenges, your family circumstances, and we're able to advise you what your potential best routes are for residency or citizenship elsewhere. We're, as it says on the slide, we're also a one-stop shop for over 20 residence citizenship by investment programs, and we have a global footprint. So all in all, I think to summarize Beyond South Africa as a business, we're there to provide unfettered advice and information regarding our community's potential for moving abroad or having options should they need. So the question we always get asked is, why should we think about mobility and the concept of global citizenship or being a global citizen? Well, I think many people have very different motivations. We meet and see clients from all parts of the world, and everyone has a different motivation for getting into a second residency or citizenship. Some of the core things that we understand from our clients that motivate them toward the options are convenience and safety. Having a South African passport myself, many years ago when I first moved to the UK, it was almost impossible for me to travel freely and spontaneously around the world. I constantly had to think about things and plan it in order to get visas and to move around. And we all know as South Africans, and Zain will know this as well, having a travel agency, a lot of clients have the hassle of trying to obtain visas at the last minute for invites or certain business meetings, or just generally for mobility is really difficult with a South African passport. I can say that my life's much, much, much easier now that I have the British passport. All of a sudden I can plan at a very last minute to move and go somewhere. And I can't explain to you how much of a hassle-free sort of lifestyle that's provided me. So convenience and mobility is really a big one. Personal security and health concerns. We're in the middle of a global pandemic. Unfortunately, in South Africa and Durban, particularly in the last weeks, we've had some really unfortunate events that caused us to be very fearful and concerned. This isn't just a South African thing. A lot of our clients experience these sorts of concerns elsewhere around the world. And so that's another reason for motivating their decision making. One thing that I constantly talk and tell our clients is that, it's not just about you. It's not about you and your wife or your parents. It's also about the future generations and your kids. So a lot of our clients also look to this as a means to secure their future generations, their kids and their grandkids, and come to us for solutions to provide this future security. And I can tell you that that's quite a popular reason why some people do that, including, for example, the potential for having your kids study abroad. Having this second option gives and makes this process very easy. It makes it very easy for sending your kids to an international school or an international university, which might be a bit more difficult if you're just on a singular South African passport. Some people decide to seriously pack their bags and leave, and they want a full citizenship renunciation or financial immigration. They've had enough. And we know one particular person, Mark Shuttleworth, many years ago, made lots of money and decided South Africa wasn't the place he wanted to live or be. And he packed his bags up and financially immigrated. There's loads of reasoning for financial immigration. One of the core things is for tax reasons. Some people don't want to pay the amount of taxes that South Africa levies against companies or personal income tax. A full financial immigration would lead you to another part of the world where potentially tax regimes are a bit more favorable. Some other reasons, I'm going to shoot through this now. International business expansion. This is the Menara Chamber of Commerce, and I'm sure quite a lot of you have thought about the idea of expanding internationally. Residency or citizenship in another country may open up doors for the potential for you to expand your business into many parts of the world. Some people do it for growth and asset protection, so moving money offshore. It's a very smart and one of the number one focal points of any independent financial advisor's playbook. It's diversify your assets. And I'm sure quite a few of you will know this and are probably thinking about it. Global residency or citizenship will enable this as well and help you do that much easier. And ultimately and finally, some people just want to do it for lifestyle. They want to move to a better climate. Some people want to live the island life. We have programs that can offer that privilege. So I've covered why you should be thinking about it. I'll move on to our presence. I think I've mentioned that we have a global footprint. Beyond we encourage our clients to be global citizens, beyond borders, beyond South Africa, beyond many of the countries we operate in. As you can see on the slide, we have a physical presence in the cities around the world, quite a number of them. And what that means is we don't just have an office, we have people on the ground who can assist you, advise you, and as we said, handhold you through the process of getting and acquiring your residency or second citizenship. I'm going to pass over now to Serhan, who is our expert in the technicalities regarding some of the options. And Serhan's going to take you through some of the options around the world that we have and we can offer as a business.
Thank you very much, Samir, for this great intro. I think, as you mentioned, we are, we've been through this unprecedented times. We found ourselves, facing these COVID issues, and even before COVID, people were always thinking about diversification of their assets, but also we recommend them, why not? If you are investing into a property somewhere else outside your country in order to diversify your investments, and there are opportunities that is attached to that investment. It could be a residence, it could be a citizenship, as you mentioned, for yourself, or sometimes for the next generations. It will make their lives easier. You are dual citizen, I'm dual citizen. I also been through the same with the Turkish passport. In some certain jurisdictions, you can freely travel. In some certain jurisdictions, you need to apply visas in advance. But when I achieved acquired my British citizenship, having two passports, I think in the United Nations there are around 200 countries, and I'm probably together with two can travel, most of them without visa. So residence and citizenship programs, global alternatives. So I think I need to start with explaining what is residency and what is citizenship. You might be residents of a country and it might give you some certain rights in that country. And however, you need to maintain your position there. Sometimes it is a job. Sometimes your investments have to be kept in that country. You legally have to be, of course, staying there. And every now and then you need to extend your permit. It doesn't give you the right to vote or participate into the elections or have a saying in that particular country. And if you stay out of that country for a certain time, your residency might be invalid. Citizenship is for life. Once you get the passport, citizenship, then you can have every possible right in that country, participate into the elections, or have the travel freedom that what that particular passport can offer. So this is an important, I think, difference that we should start with mentioning. So at the moment, the leading programs, as you can see, everywhere. So if we start from the western part of the world, famous, lifestyle programs like USA and Canada, people are willing to move into there for business purposes or send their next generation to set up part of their business in those countries or for education purposes. And if there is an investment in that country and you would like to commit some of your time, then it might lead to a residence or citizenship. And again, in the same continent, there are micro islands, Caribbean islands, Antigua, Grenada, Dominica, St. Kitts and St. Lucia. They are very small, but their power of the passport is great, because almost 150 countries, you can visa-free travel. You can have the visa-free travel chance if you have the citizenship from one of those countries. And most of them are the lifestyle countries like UK, Schengen, 26 Schengen countries, and many more. Also, I also had British clients who invested into that country to be able to get the citizenship due to the fact that they can visa travel to Russia or China because they have businesses there. And funny enough, British passport may not help one to go there visa-free, but these passports, this citizenship can. Also, after COVID, these are very remote islands and it's easy to isolate. Some people decided to move and work remotely from there because during COVID, all the work was online. Even the kids' education was online. So if you are sitting in a certain city or sitting in a remote COVID-free country, is completely the same thing. So people were interested in for different reasons. As Samir mentioned in the beginning, everybody has a different motivation when it comes to the diversification of their assets and also their residence and citizenship options. When we come towards the Europe, mainly Europe again is a lifestyle choice for many of us. Like, after a certain age, I completed my education and come to the UK, and then I've been in the UK for 15 years. There are hundreds of thousands of people like myself. So citizenship programs, if you invest into a property in, for example, Cyprus program at the moment is not available, but it used to be up until a couple of months, 6 months ago. So also I think it's important to mention that when we are talking about what is available at the moment, it is available for now. It may not be guaranteed for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months. So therefore, we need to, if you have that plan and decided, made our minds, then I think it's important to move fast. In Europe, Montenegro, Turkey, that's where I am from. Actually, Turkey is Eurasia, part of Asia, and Europe is the bridge between the continents. So if one invests into a property in Turkey worth of $250,000 US, it could be a commercial property, it could be a residential property, it could be a land. It's a very flexible program. If you pass the due diligence, comply with all the requirements and rules, submit the necessary documents, one can become a Turkish citizen within 6 months. Them and their dependent children under 18 years old. Same possibilities available in Montenegro. If you want to buy a property in Montenegro, part of a hotel project, invest in that, expecting some return on investment, but also that might open you an alternative passport. It doesn't mean that you need to pack up and move, but that passport always stays in your pocket for your family as well, for business trip or in case of emergency, always the alternative is available. Same applicable for Malta as well. But there are also residence programs in the world. In Europe, like UK we are talking about, there are several options in the UK for investors, innovative entrepreneurs, and successful business people who have companies abroad would like to open up a representative branch in the UK. So these opportunities available in the UK. Greece and Portugal, lifestyle property or investment property, if you buy, then also it brings you the residence permit in that country, not only to yourself, your dependent parents, your dependent children. So these are the available options again other English speaking, and that's the probably only European Union country at the moment. Ireland have interesting opportunities, and some lifestyle or tax reasons, people like Monaco, and those are all available programs. And of course, if we go towards the east, Dubai, the people who are doing business there or investing into a property might have that residence option in Dubai as well. And then Southeast Pacific Asia, there are lifestyle programs like Thailand Elite. It's a bit holiday makers or travelers who prefer to go to Thailand might take advantage of it. Malaysia used to have my second home, no longer available, but it was a popular program at one time. So as I said, what is available today may not be available in the close future. So Singapore and Hong Kong for business people, that looking into different perspective and maybe tax planning can choose those that options as well. So in Australia and New Zealand, I think also maybe close to, the style-wise to South Africa. However, at the moment after COVID, they stopped applications, but there were investor programs available in those jurisdictions. And there is another small country called Vanuatu, very similar to the Caribbean, who has visa-free travel agreements between United Kingdom and 26 Schengen countries, in total 120 countries. So those are the available options at the moment in the world that can be achieved via investment. So next slide, please. Thank you. So yes, I think the most important question whenever we meet our clients, we first of all need to understand, to define what is the main objective. What are they looking for? Are they looking for perhaps just a visa-free travel? They are very happy where they are, but they would like to be able to visa-free travel holiday-wise, or business meetings, exhibition, international events. They would like to go without any visa hassle. I met very important Turkish business people in the past. They receive last-minute invitation from Germany, but if they don't have a Schengen visa, they miss out the very important business opportunity, not being able to travel to that jurisdiction to meet up with prospects. So if you have the alternative residence or citizenship from, we mentioned one of the Caribbean countries, that basically you eliminate that risk. So you always have that plan B in your pocket. So objective could be studying abroad or sending your kids to other jurisdictions, or willing to work or establishing another office branch of your company, or these days health, you're looking for better quality health services, or state health services, and some certain security. What is happening in the Middle East, sometimes people are looking to move into the safer jurisdictions. So Portugal, I think it's important to mention, one of the safest countries in the world and very popular these days because it's very welcoming and friendly. And they don't require heavily physical presence to be able to, give you a permanent residence or citizenship after 5-6 years. It only requires to have a connection with the country, which means you might have an investment in that country, and minimum spending 7 days a year in that country, and having no criminal records, no tax issues. If you can provide all these evidences, that kind of opens up, opportunities to you or any other investors. UK is the same. We mentioned Canada, US. It could be education, health services, business purposes. All these are available. Or Turkey. Turkey managed to do well during the pandemic. Per habitat emergency services beds were higher in Turkey than all Europe. So there are some, opportunities available for in other jurisdictions. So also, I think it's Samir's expertise, but he mentioned that tax planning solutions. Some people prefer friendly environment to be in. In our experience, it is Dominica in Caribbean or Cyprus in Europe. Sometimes UK, it offers a non-domicile tax regime here as well. That's also important point for some of our clients as well. And some of our clients, when they are looking into the programs, they always ask, if I relocate to a certain country, after a while, will it lead to a citizenship? In some certain jurisdictions, yes, it does. If you spend enough time and then have your connections with the country, stronger connections, that leads to a citizenship. In the United Kingdom, if you stay here lawfully, legally, have the visa for 5 + 1 year, in total 6 years, it leads to a citizenship. Similar opportunities available in Ireland. In USA, after having your green card, if you spend there 5 years, then you achieve your US passport. In Canada, if you spend 1,995 days, which is 3 years out of 5, then you achieve your Canadian citizenship as well. I mentioned most of the programs already, but I think it is important to see visually what is attached to the program, what is the minimum threshold for that program, what are the requirements. As I mentioned, the residence program in Europe is very popular for several reasons, which I'm gonna mention again during this slide. So for example, in Portugal, the minimum investment threshold that you can buy property in Portugal worth of 280,000 euros. There will be some, of course, stamp duty, title deed transfer fees on top, and then government fees. But whoever contacting us, we always give a full breakdown that you see what is involved in terms of the financial side of the program and in terms of the requirements. And this Portugal program, as I mentioned, only requires limited physical presence, which average 7 days a year. And once you get the Portuguese residence permit, it allows you to visa-free travel within the other 26 Schengen countries. It's also an advantage. And they require from you to keep your investment in that country after you achieve your permanent residence or citizenship status, which is roughly 5 to 6 years. And after that, you can always sell your property and invest into another one, or diversify, move into a bigger project country, etc. Same applies to Greece. The investment threshold for Greece is 250,000 euros. It could be a commercial property. It could be already, shops with a tenant that will bring you some rental income, or brand new place, holiday place. Anyway, you can choose, as per your taste and liking. And also that will bring you the permanent resident status in Greece. It gives you once 5 years to you, your kids, and then your parents, 5 years residence permit in Greece. You can reside in Greece, live in Greece, study in Greece, or do business in Greece. Same applies to Portugal or Malta or Cyprus, and visa-free travel in the other Schengen countries. However, in this program, you need to keep your investment and connection to the country if you want to extend every 5 years. So the extension is every 5 years. It doesn't require any physical presence, only one visit from you for the biometrics after your application is approved. That's all. Same applies to the Malta and Cyprus. You can buy property and fulfill other requirements, and then achieve the permanent resident status in that country together with your families. So this is the residence programs in Europe. And also there are direct leading to citizenship programs. As I mentioned, in Turkey, you can achieve your citizenship via real estate investment in 6 months. You have to hold on to your investment property for 3 years. And after 3 years, you can sell your property. If you hold on to your property for 5 years, you will be exempt from the capital gain tax in Turkey as well. But the limit is only 3 years. So the Turkish citizenship have different advantages than the other European citizenship. It is not like visa-free travel options, but it is more like a lifestyle. It is a very welcoming country, on the crossroads of cultures, civilizations. So in any background, culturally, very, can find themselves comfortable living areas for them, for their kids, in terms of more conservative type of living, or sending your kids to certain schools. All these available in Turkey. Montenegro, as I mentioned, there will be a hotel share investment or hotel rooms that can bring some income. and the investment has to be hold. It's not defined when you can sell it, but you can again achieve your citizenship status in 3 to 4 months in Montenegro. Montenegro is the #1 candidate to the EU. They are expecting to be the member in 2025. They are not at the moment, but they are expecting to be the first expansion will include Montenegro to the European Union. That's also an interesting advantage. Investing to Montenegro now might bring you the EU citizenship in the 5 to 6 years time. Malta already in the EU. Malta has been considered as the Rolls-Royce of the citizenship because it allows almost 185 country visa-free travel. You can live and reside in 26 other European Union countries, and visa-free travel options. I think I mentioned already, even United States and Canada can be visited visa-free, and you can also establish your life or your kids' life in other important lifestyle countries like Germany, France, Spain, Italy with your Maltese citizenship. However, the investment threshold for Malta is a bit higher. And the other option is also Austria. Either they expect to donate into certain important refurbishment projects in the country, or invest in capital investment into a business or establishing a business in Austria. It is also taking long, but Austrian passport is a very valuable document as well for future. And I think also the popular destinations, as I mentioned, where we are at the moment, UK, Canada, and USA. There's an option in the UK for investors. You can bring £2 million into the UK and park your investment here for 5 years to achieve permanent resident status. Sometimes we have Chinese, Russian, Nigerian, and Turkish families sending their kids to university and invest on their behalf. And after 5 years, when the kid graduated from the university, also have the indefinite leave to remain status in the UK. It's an invaluable document because it leads to citizenship after a year. It is a fairly simple process. As Samir mentioned, we are in the UK. We offer this hand-holding service not only for the initial investment, but if it takes you 5 years, we always help you with your extensions and throughout the way with every possible way that we support our clients. The other option for, as I mentioned, the innovator, entrepreneurial spirits, if somebody has an innovative idea, if the idea is viable and scalable, they can bring that with a little capital layout. The rules say 50,000 GBP, but realistically starting off a business in the UK, minimum 200,000 is required. If you have that opinion, we obviously act as an incubator and get the endorsement bodies to help you with your business, or there is already available businesses looking for investors to come and have part of it shared from that investment and bring that business to next level together. So that program is available. And also it's not on the screen, but I need to mention, because in our culture, we have similar culture. Most of the businesses are family corporations, family businesses. Therefore, if anybody wants to establish their successful business, the mother company can always send somebody to represent their mother company in the UK, and then they can open office. No capital requirements, no office. You don't need to hire anybody. So as long as your business in your home country, sending a senior role position, it could be sometimes the young generation in the family who already studied abroad, come back, working in the company as a senior director or business development director. They come into the UK to set up that office to sell or bring more clients from UK to you. Same process applies, and after 5 years, they achieve their indefinite leave to remain. What is important here, we need to analyze your mother company, its financials, suitability, and that requirements in the UK, if that business is needed in the UK. And then if yes, because we speak immigration, we explain it to the authorities accordingly that this business need to be in the UK for the next 5-10 years. And then after that, that is an also interesting point for the UK relocation. And Canada, for example, I always mention that what is available today may not be available. Canada Investor Program ceased last year until the 2023. Not available at the moment, but there is a very similar innovator program in Canada. It's called Startup. Realistically, you might need to lower investment capital from the incubators or angel investors in Canada. However, realistically, again, the program, if you have 350,000 Canadian dollars, there's an interesting solution for moving your startup or business or being a joint investor for a startup company in Canada. And USA, there are also several options. The famous one is EB5. Again, it's a real estate investment in USA. If one invests $900,000 US into that property in US, can be eligible for the green card together with their family. Any children up to 21 is eligible as well. However, we have interesting solutions for USA with a very good CV, education background, and references, and a senior position person can apply to a different employment-based skilled position with a good lawyer and preparations with our help, and also can be eligible for the same green card, which is worth 900,000, as you can see, for maybe 10th of it, between 50 to 90,000 dollars, and it can also open up some doors in USA. I think again we can go to the next slide, please. Yes, and we mentioned about the global mobility options. You can see the whole table of the Caribbean programs here. One can, of course, invest into the real estate hotel projects in one of those holiday destinations and have their citizenship in 3 to 6 months due to that, owing to that investment. And then this can be passed on to the next generation, any dependent children in full-time education up to 26, 7, sometimes up to 30 years of age accepted into those programs, and also dependent parents. So 3 generations in some cases can apply together to get that alternative residence or alternative citizenship in those jurisdictions. And then investment threshold starts from as little as $100,000 for a single applicant, or a family $150,000 US. There will be some other expenses. As I mentioned, we always send a breakdown to show every possible expected costs to be able to achieving these opportunities and options. And thank you very much. And the next slide, please. Oh yes, I think I'll pass over to my colleague Samir, because he started our presentation with mentioning about all those points. It's down to you, Samir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Serhan, for quite insightful information. I'm sure there's quite a lot to digest, but we will provide some nice takeaways for our guests today to analyze their options after the event. So just to conclude, I guess, about Beyond and what we offer, we have 100% success rate, and that's because we spend a lot of time doing our due diligence processes. We are very much interested in ensuring that our clients meet their intended objectives. So we spend quite a lot of time in terms of ensuring compliance and making sure our clients have the potential to achieve their residency or citizenship objectives. We collaborate quite a lot with lots of different entities in the various jurisdictions, be it real estate companies, be it educational advisors, all of the things that people care about, we are able to connect the dots. And that's part of the concept of us saying end to end. We are unlike quite a lot of immigration lawyers and advisors, because we are very entrepreneurial in our approach to dealing with our clients and customers. Most of them are entrepreneurs, heads of large family businesses, professionals. We provide 24/7 assistance, meaning we're always at the end of a phone call, giving you the time and the requisite information you need and advice when you need it the most. We quite pride ourselves on building long-term relationships, and part of doing that is ensuring we build trust with our clients and creating a rapport with our clients through transparency and providing all of the information you need. One of the big mistakes quite a lot of people make in making such huge lifestyle moves in terms of residency and citizenship planning is they sometimes ignore the tax consequences or the other important lifestyle consequences of making specific decisions. At Beyond, we're very much aware that our clients are making really, really big decisions by potentially going into one of these investments. And so we ensure that we provide a very holistic approach and a bespoke approach to that specific family's criteria and challenges. As I said, and I'll mention again, our global footprint, our ability to service a client at any, in pretty much any part of the world. We have either feet on ground or a network of service providers that we have long-standing relationships with, and we're able to service our client in any of these jurisdictions. We also provide family office services, so we're able to deliver quite a lot more than residency and citizenship advice, and that's just come over years and years and years of dealing with families moving and taking in their inquiries and their requests for assistance in those countries. So a lot of you might be thinking, for example, if I'm not going to move to Portugal after I've purchased my property, how will I manage it? How will I open my bank account? Beyond has thought about all of these things, and we're able to offer the services to ensure that you have a stress-free and seamless service in order to manage your investment. That covers in a nutshell everything about Beyond. I think the one thing very importantly that I want to say is the purpose of us providing our services is not in any way to encourage people to pack up their bags and leave our beautiful country, South Africa, and our beautiful city, Durban. We have an amazing lifestyle in our country with great weather, great food. Everything is really, really, really good about South Africa. Yes, we have challenges, but there's challenges in lots of parts of the world. What we're saying here is that we should consider the options. We should consider strategies in order to mitigate some of our risks. And one of those strategies in the toolkit, in the playbook, should be considering your residency and citizenship options. And the beautiful part of some of these products that we've discussed today is that you don't even need to leave South Africa. It's an option. It's there for when you really need to use it for your benefit. And so with that being said, I'd like again to thank Minara for hosting us, to Zain for organizing, to Amina for organizing. Thank you very much, guys. Shukran. And to all of you, Jazakallah khair for your time. And we'd like to end off with a Q&A session and basically, take any questions that people might have.
Samir, there's a couple of questions that's come up in the chats here. The first one from Ridwan is about the Turkey citizenship by investment opportunity.
Sure.
The dependents are covered under 18. What happens once the kids turn 18?
Saran's the expert. I'll let him take that question.
Thank you for the question. Anybody under 18 can apply, and at the time of the submission of your file, if the kid is under 18, nothing will happen. The citizenship is for life, and it can pass down to the next generations. If the dependent children is over 18, at the moment, we cannot include them into the application. But as the family getting the Turkish citizenship and then having a real estate, they always can have a chance to get the residence permit. It's kind of a family connections and ties. And then if they find other ways to stay in Turkey as well, there are several opportunities, that can enroll for a course, university, all those. And then after a certain time is passed, they can be eligible for the Turkish citizenship. But the answer to the question, anybody under 18 at the time of the submission will be eligible for the citizenship.
Second question from Shahir is, what happens if you pass away and your name is on a title deed? Does your family's status get compromised?
Very good, very technical questions. I'm glad to hear that, where we have very good listeners and asking very good questions. Thank you very much for the question as well. God forbids, but of course, if anything happens, unlucky like that, of course, the family's rights will be honored. That will be, each country, jurisdiction have their own laws, to cover, of course, inheritance. That will be part of inheritance, but then the next kin in that application, if they are written accordingly, then it will be passed down to the spouse, and then the family status will continue.
I think that's, just to jump in, Saran, that's quite a crucial part of setting up in that new country. So one of the things we would say as well is for the main applicant, being the head of the family, to write in their will the person who will succeed on that specific property. So it would be part of the strategy in terms of taking that investment, getting in, and then creating the succession of that potential property, which would be covered under the status of that family in the country.
Okay, Isa Hassam's got a question. When you have a spouse who is only married by Islamic marriage, if you invest, will your spouse also get residency or citizenship? Is the Islamic marriage certificate recognized, or do you have to be civilly married within the laws of South Africa?
The Islamic marriages are recognized, and it's again a very good and technical question. Thank you very much. Most of the investors and citizenship applicants also coming from similar backgrounds, right, in the Middle East, and also they have the Islamic marriage. As long as the authorities in their home country recognizes that document, that will be attested, notarized, and then sent to the target country. So just from a Turkish perspective, Turkey, for example, recognizes, Caribbean recognizes, European countries recognizes. As long as it's been attested and notified by the local authorities in that country, then it will be accepted.
This is quite a common thing, obviously, in South Africa amongst our community. There's quite a few traditional marriages, as we call it in South Africa. And in some cases, you have couples who have just the traditional marriage and they've not registered the traditional marriage from a civil perspective. So that's a very good question. And as Saran has said, as long as the country that you're from recognizes the traditional marriage, which South Africa does, so tick the box, so long as that document has been attested and notarized, it can be legally validated and accepted in the target country.
And a very interesting point as well, Samir, you know very well, we live in the UK and Europe. In our culture, it's very common, Islamic marriage. And the other part of the world, civil partnership, they call it, even if you don't have a document, there are lots of evidence that you can provide that you've been living in the same home address, you have kids together on their birth certificates, for example, the mother and father names are there. So there are always ways around, even if they don't have the documents.
Okay, the next question also from Isa is it better to invest in properties via company or in personal capacity? I've heard that if you invest via a company, then all shareholders will get residency or citizenship. Example, husband, wife, parents, siblings, and it's not restrictive to age. Is that correct?
Partly. Again, it's a good question. I think what I understand from that question depends on the risk appetite that you have. But we personally work with well-known developers, right, with a track record. So
No.
when you want to invest into a property, but then via that entity or somebody like us, reputable company who can help you to invest. But if they're asking, instead of a person, shall I set up a company and invest via that company? Was that the question? Or?
That's the question, Saran. So it's
Okay.
the question you and I have discussed a few times. So a lot of people have asked this question.
Not every jurisdiction allow that, but there are some jurisdictions that allow setting up a company in that country. You need to own 100% of that company. Greece, Portugal, this is possible. And that company invests into a property. Okay. So you are the main applicant. Your spouse and dependents will be again qualified for that. This can be set. Just to give you an example, this may not be possible in Malta or Turkey. They look for the individual investment. But in Portuguese or Greece, they allow via company investments.
Mm-hmm. So, Saran, the second part of the question was the understanding from Brother Isa was that he's heard, somebody has told him that should he make the investment through a company and the shareholders of that specific company are, say, his husband, the wife, or the husband of the main shareholder, their parents and kids. So it could be that we could set up a company. So here's an example.
I don't think that, yes, I don't think that is the case. It depends if there's a particular jurisdiction who that allows it. But normally, just to give you an example, if the jurisdiction requires 250,000 euros minimum, and then that company only invests 250,000 euros, then they also want to see shareholder. If there is more than one shareholder, it makes life a bit more difficult. Sole ownership works better in that sense. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, they need to increase the investment amount. Mm-hmm.
Which then defeats the purpose of, I guess, what the brother's asking, because a lot of the programs restrict the amount of dependents that you can bring into your application, right? And there's obviously a reason. There's a reason for this. Like they don't want one main applicant bringing his parents, uncles, aunts, cousins, all these sorts of things. It's a lot of these programs are mainly geared to the main applicant, the spouse, and the dependent kids. There are some programs which allow the dependent parents to be part of that application. And hence, that's the reason why they put the age limit on a lot of these programs. The age limit is to kind of test the dependency criteria, which is most of the time, kids over 18 usually start to become emancipated. And as a result, some of them they're no longer dependent. However, at Beyond, we know how to get around the idea of dependency in terms of showing and proving to the authorities the requirements for dependency.
And then, Samir, you made a very good point. Also, they require for the elder children in Europe, for example, if they are at university, they require them to be in full-time education. If they feel or know that the kid is already financially independent, like having said that, if you put your kid into the company, so the kid is actually owning a share of the company and financially independent. So you no longer will be able to include him or her into that application.
Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you. The next question was, if my son was born in Canada, will my other children, wife, and I be eligible to citizenship? I think we're covering citizenship by investment here.
Exactly.
That's correct.
That's correct.
So
but I think I can answer that very quickly. I think how that works very quickly is that if your son is the person born in that country, the citizenship belongs to him and potentially his children, not to the mother, the father, or any of the other people around. That's usually how citizenship works, the eligibility for if you're born into that specific country.
In many countries already started to restrict that, citizenship by birth as well, just to, extra information. Mm-hmm.
What is the investment criteria for Dubai residents, please, from Ismail?
There are several different criteria. You know, it could be business related or the property, and then they change it frequently. So I think if they write to us, we can later on answer their questions, because there are different levels. Depends on the budget and the location where you spend and how much you spend on the property. It can bring some residence rights in Dubai, or if you are setting up a business company in one of the free zones, if you're going to do business, that might also bring some certain residence possibilities there as well.
Okay. From Farah, which countries allow dependent parents as part of their applications?
Financially dependent, or if they are dependent or over certain age, most of the programs like Greece, Portugal, they accept dependent parents. Turkey doesn't accept at the moment. Again, they allow to get your parents to residence permit in Turkey, but they don't give the citizenship directly to them. In Portugal, in Greece, they allow the dependent parents. In the Caribbean programs, same again, they can include their dependent parents onto the citizenship application if they want to do so.
For Portugal, once the 6 years are up for the investment, do you need to do a culture or language type of test before getting residence?
It's, I think, a very good question as well. Shall I go ahead, Samir? Or
Absolutely, go for it.
What is required in Portugal, what they pay attention, no criminal records, no tax-related issues, you know, because every 2 years you need to extend your visa. And then when you come to the year 5, you will be eligible for the citizenship. On that moment, they want you to keep your connection to the country, which is your investment. And then they want you to have the entry-level language skills. My background is international education, therefore A2 level Portuguese, they require you to pass. Most of the South African brothers and sisters already speaking several languages, I believe. So sitting that test in 6 years' time and passing that is not, shouldn't be a big issue, but the requirement is the basic level understanding of Portuguese, which is A2 level.
Samir, for you, with you being in the UK at the moment, is there someone in the Joburg office that we can talk to immediately?
So basically, at the moment, it's just myself and Serhan. I'm planning to come back to South Africa in the next month or so. So the numbers on the slide, I'd probably inform people to contact the UK number on WhatsApp, and I'm happy to take sort of messages, calls, or emails. The email's there as well, and I can set up calls. We plan to have a person on the ground shortly, as we've just launched, and it's been a bit difficult with COVID to set things in motion. But definitely there will be a person on the ground to field inquiries, to collect documentation, and do all those things that are necessary in order to make the process, the application process, simple. So yes, at the moment we have a virtual office in Johannesburg, but we'll also have a presence, inshallah, in Durban as well, where we anticipate quite a lot of potential clients.
Great. Can we get an estimate of the costs for the services provided?
So it ranges depending on the program. So for example, Serhan, I think you're probably better doing pricing, because again, it's also dependent on the number of applicants.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So it's every program has
variables.
a different price point.
There are variables. Therefore, depends on the family structure, their ages will change the pricing and the program. So therefore, if you know which program is of interest and how many members of the family will be included in the application, and the family members' ages. Then we will have the exact numbers for that particular program.
Zain, were you asking specifically about the beyond fee or the cost of getting into programs, the whole cost?
I think they're asking for the beyond fee.
Okay, so that would range, again, it changes by the currency of the country that they're applying it. But let's assume, for example, Portugal, it can be anything from $15,000 to $25,000.
Okay, thank you. Does Turkey residence only work with real estate? Is there not a program for businesses like the UK has?
Yeah, there is, but the Turkey program is the citizenship program, by the way, we are talking about. There are some other options for residency as well, but we covered citizenship today. The requirements for citizenship, 250,000 real estate investment or $500,000 to put into a bank in Turkey for 3 years. You lock your money there for 3 years, and after 3 years, the money is yours. You still will be eligible for the citizenship. And the business-wise, if you establish a business and employ 10 Turkish workers for that business, again, you will be eligible for the program.
Are you able to provide information on residence and citizen options for Mauritius?
Yes, we have experience in Mauritius as well, so we're able to do that for sure. We don't always, we talk about the 20 most popular programs that we offer. There's quite a few more programs that are actually on offer. We always kind of focus on the ones we know that are popular with South Africans and basically that we have the most experience with. Mauritius is definitely a potential place that we can assist with. It's just that not a lot of people request it, so it's not something that we actively push out.
So they can get hold of you and by WhatsApp maybe, and you can send them the details.
Via WhatsApp, via email. There's the email, samir@beyondimmigration.com, or the UK WhatsApp number is perfect as well. I'll be quite responsive if people send me their sort of requirements. I'm very happy to provide further information. I see another question, I think, from Aisha Parak. Did you see that, Zain?
Yeah, I'm getting there. There's one more.
Sorry.
Does Turkey require you to speak Turkish on the residency program?
No, Turkey doesn't require any language test or any citizenship test. Nothing like that is required. But if anybody is willing to relocate, I think they need to bear in mind if they have children, the school, the education, of course, state education, then but the kids will pick up fast Turkish. There is also private education in English as well. But all in all, the answer to that question, Turkey doesn't require any language skills for the citizenship.
Okay, Aisha's question was for Turkey, the 250,000 investment, does it need to be in one property or can it be multiple properties amounting to a total of 250,000?
Very carefully selected, good question. It can be a multiple properties, and it can be residential, commercial, or mixed. So it could be several properties, and it can be one, depends on their liking. We had in the past who bought from a project 3 properties. As long as the total amount is over $250,000, then it will be accepted.
Thank you. Eunice has a question. Can you hold 2 passports, that is retain your South African passport as well as the new country passport?
100%. So I'll take that question. As originally as a South African passport holder, South Africa has a law that enables South Africans to hold 2 passports. So for example, as I came to the UK, I did my time through the highly skilled program, became the tier 1 highly skilled program. I spent time in the UK and eventually became naturalized. and the potential for citizenship, which I did. As soon as I acquired my British passport, I just basically had to inform the South African authorities here in London that I was, in essence, acquiring the British passport and citizenship. And as a result, they make a note of it on the system that you have basically a second passport. The reason you have to do this, you have to fill this form in, is because when your South African passport expires, if you haven't informed them, there's a risk that your citizenship would be, it would basically fall away, as the UK authorities inform the South African authorities that a South African citizen is undertaking and becoming a British citizen. So it's very important. I know people who've not filled the form in. It's not the end of the world, because they can still prove South African citizenship. It's just the process. So yes, in a nutshell, the answer is yes. A South African can hold multiple passports. I think we recommend 2.
Gentlemen, I think we've come to the end of our session. It was a really, really great session. Thank you so much for your time. I think we've learned quite a lot. I think there may be still a few more questions we haven't been to yet. But Samir, your number's on there.
Yes.
They can WhatsApp you and ask you the questions directly. Is that fine?
100%. So either email me or WhatsApp me. I see there's still quite a few questions. I'm very happy to answer, or even take calls to discuss some of these questions. Anyone that's interested in receiving the decision matrix guide, which is in essence a matrix, very quickly, that it shows you all the countries side by side and explains to you the amount of investment, the amount of dependents you're allowed, the age limits. It's a very simple side-by-side comparison table, which enables any person to quickly evaluate their options. We're going to share this with people who've joined, and if anyone's interested, drop me an email on samir@beyondimmigration.com, and I will, inshallah, send you guys this document.
Excellent. Before we end, Sumaya has an excellent comment. This was a very informative, but also good to know that plan B doesn't mean we have to flee.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sumaya, I just wanted to say that last week I did a very engaging and interesting, candid conversation about my immigration journey. And I think the core message from it was, I hope our community and our brothers and sisters retain hope in South Africa, retain hope in Durban. You know, as I've seen quite a lot of group discussions and forums, people are talking about their options. Absolutely consider your option, tie your camel, but retain the hope and of the prospects of our country, because I believe that there's still a lot of hope. There's still a lot of options for us in South Africa. So hopefully, I'm going to share that that session as well. If anyone wants to listen to my kind of candid and honest insight into the immigrants, I'm happy to share that as well.
Thanks, guys. And also I want to make the special thanks to Mohammed Kaka and Farhad Janu from Al Baraka Bank for the technical support and hosting this webinar today.
Shukran.
Appreciate that, Al Baraka. Recording will be available on the Minara YouTube channel later this week. So whoever's missed it, you can pass on the link. We'll share it as well. Thanks, guys, once again. Thank you, everybody, for attending tonight.
Thank you very much for having us, and your hospitality was great. Thank you.
Jazakallah wa salam.